Bring the band in.
Hey guys, welcome back to American Contractor Show, and I am super thrilled today because we get to hang out with Ben Hodson, one of the co-founders of JobNimbus, the current CEO of the company, and really the driving force for what makes JobNimbus so special. Besides the people, you guys have amazing people. But Ben, thank you so much for hanging out with us, especially after this major announcement last week.
Yeah. Glad to be here. Yeah, we're super excited about it. I mean, it's amazing. What an accomplishment.
Yeah, I mean, I've been out to Salt Lake, been through your guys' headquarters, met your people, and I will say from a industry standpoint, looking into JobNimbus, understanding what you guys do from the inner workings is so special to me, and you guys are well deserved to get this funding because that means that as contractors, we are the beneficiaries of amazing new technology that you guys are able to integrate now. So thank you so much for everything you guys have done. Thank you for existing.
Absolutely. We're honored to do it.
So let's talk a little bit about this new round of funding first, and I mean that's the big hot topic, and then we'll talk a little bit about what you guys are going to do with that and kind of the main mission of JobNimbus. But yeah, let's walk through this, man. So $330 million.
Yeah, it's a big number.
It's a very large number.
It's by our measure, it's the biggest round ever in home exterior software, and it's the biggest. For us, it's the biggest round in Utah this year. Nothing's even close. Next closest was 110 million.
If people don't realize, like Salt Lake is considered what, the Silicon Slopes?
Yeah, it's like the tech hub.
There's so many tech companies.
Here. We got Microsoft here. You
drive down that highway through Lehigh, and all you see are tech companies all over the place, and there are these awesome buildings, and then you see the JobNimbus building, and behind it they got like Xactimate, and then there's Xactware, and there's like all these different companies all
Sales
throughout.
Rabbit,
Sales Rabbit's there.
Yep.
Yeah, and you guys are right in the midst of it. But it's all these tech companies. Like there's so many. I remember we were at the summit here with you guys this summer, and I went to dinner at that. There was a little restaurant there across the street. There's some grill, and we went by, and they had a private room in there, and there was another tech company, and they're having a party, and we talked to those guys, and I'm like, you guys do what exactly? And they're telling us all this cool stuff they do. And I'm like, this place is incredible. Like, I love being over there and being around all the young tech people that are way smarter than me and are building really cool stuff.
Yeah. And we're all in office culture. And so we're lucky to be here because we can actually hire the talent locally that can come in. If we were, in other parts of the U.S. that maybe aren't a tech hub, you wouldn't be able to do that. You'd have to have a remote team. And that's just not what we want to do. Or sure, a lot of remote companies do fine, but that's not what we want. So.
No, I don't blame you. Remote's a tricky business, especially when you're trying to build an experience like you guys are.
Yeah.
I think that in order to really build that culture, which is what the contractors, your customers, are going to feel at the end of the day, the only way to really do that is to do it under one roof.
Yes. I mean, name one tech company that you can think of that did something monumental that changed the world that was an all remote culture ever, even in the last couple of years. It doesn't exist. So we happen to believe that if you want to go hard and you want to really make impact, there's nothing like being together and whiteboarding and collaborating and pushing each other to greatness.
I love it, man. So you guys have built this company now. JobNimbus has been around for a little while, but the amount of strides you guys have made over the last few years is amazing. And I probably couple that back to your guys' culture and what makes you guys so special.
Yeah, I definitely think, this whole funding was just a giant team effort,
So talk to us a little bit about this. What is, you guys already have an incredible product, but to bring in this type of funding, what does that mean for JobNimbus as a business?
Yep. I mean, why did we even do it? It sounds like an insane amount of money to raise. Like what? It's because of the mission and vision that we have here. So our mission is to make our customers heroes to their homeowners, their property owners, heroes to their families. Like if you think about the life of a typical construction contractor, especially in home exteriors, and of course we're really big in roofing. That's where most of our customers are. You've got guys that are working long hours every day, including weekends. They're constantly putting out fires, and there's a lot of broken families, a lot of real struggles in personal lives in this industry, and a lot of people that aren't achieving their potential. And we can't stand that because we think they're amazing, wonderful people. And so our mission is all about like, how do we fundamentally help them transform their business and frankly automate their business, which I'll talk about in a second, so that they can actually be that 5-star contractor everyone wants to work with. They get incredible referrals, and they get more time with their family and friends. And what we've seen, these people are very generous too. We love our customers' generosity. And what we've seen, when they are more profitable, they give more in their communities. And we honor that, and we want to enable more of that. So that's how we think about our mission. Now, our vision is how are we going to do this? And right now we're building a platform, and the platform's whole goal is to automate their whole business end to end. How do we make it so they have to do less and less and less, so they could build, let's say, a $15 million roofing company with 6 people instead of 25 people or whatever? So we're thinking about that every day. And that starts with a lot of the tools we've got in our automations. We've got a bunch of things coming out over the next few years in our roadmap that will automate whole roles. So you're not having to do a bunch of busy work. You're just doing the smart stuff along the way. And then we've even got a longer term vision of how we get into robotics and actually start doing tear off robots and everything. How do we automate everything in construction and then branch out to other construction over time? This is why somebody's willing to put $330 million, because that's a freaking crazy vision that people go, that's insane. What are you guys talking about? That's the kind of vision that motivates that type of money to say, yeah, we believe in that. We think it could actually change the world.
Yeah, well, I mean, you think about how integral construction really is to our society, the entire nation.
Yes.
Like, we would be nowhere without construction. Like, we'd all be living in huts or something. I don't even know.
What's the one thing that outlasts us? You go to like Rome or something, it's the buildings.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that's outlasts humanity, right? And we're on the forefront of exactly that. The most important part of our society is building things.
I know. And to think that we're just now catching up with the tech to make it easier to build things. How are we left behind?
Yes.
As an industry, we've been just completely left behind when it comes to tech. And to see you guys coming in here and not just believing in our mission, but building something to make it even better. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. So we're going down this road. You guys are going to start doing more automations. Can you talk more into what that actually means? Granular, or is that kind of like high level?
At a high level, like, let's talk about a few things. First of all, let's talk about how we're going to deploy the funds. We're putting money into more support resources, because customers in this industry, they just want somebody to help them. They don't want to have to do everything on their own. And we totally get that. And we want to make sure we have the people to help them. And then we're putting a lot of money into our product right now. And so engineers are very expensive, and we don't have anybody outsourced. That's another thing that's really unique about us. Most of our competitors use big outsource teams. I'm sure it's fine, but we love having people here, local US based engineers building software, and product people building software. Well, they happen to cost a lot more than somebody, say, in the Philippines or India or whatever, right? But they also happen to output a lot more, and they understand the problem set better, and they're part of our culture. So there's a lot of benefits to it too, even though it's way more expensive. So we need the funds to build that team out more. And so we'll be like drastically increasing our resources there over the next few years with this money. Now, the output of that, let me give you an example of something, and I'm going to tell you something, and then probably a bunch of competitors are going to steal this, but I think we can execute it on so fast that it doesn't matter. But like, for instance, you say like, hey, JobNimbus has a calendar right now, and you can manage all of your crews and subcontractors, and you can manage your material order, delivery dates, and you can order materials automatically with one click through JobNimbus and all that kind of stuff. And it's cool, and it's a good management tool. But the production manager still has to come in every day and understand all the jobs and what is in the queue, and then figure out which crews. And of course, most crews like can do a certain number of squares or whatever, or know certain types of roof systems to install. And so they have to know all these things. And then they've got to schedule stuff out and make sure they're on the right dates with the material deliveries. It's very complicated to do. And then they have to deal with rain and weather events and then reschedule everything. And then somehow on top of all that, communicate to all of the property owners so they know what's going on. Because people most likely to give you a bad review if you don't communicate enough.
Right. No,
And
I
so
agree.
you
That's
look at all
huge.
that and you say, oh my gosh, that's such a big problem. And yet it's better than it was even 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, where most people were doing that all on paper or with a Google Calendar. At least we have something better than that, but it's still not the vision. What's the vision? You go into JobNimbus, it knows all your crews and subs. This is where we're going with it. It keeps track of what number of squares they can do, it has all access to all their schedules. We're using a lot of AI to help enable this because computers can make a lot of decisions really quickly with the right rules in place. And then it would actually give you a schedule recommendation for all of your jobs. It knows all the context of everything, what needs to be done, and knows the measurements from the estimates in JobNimbus. And it says, here's all the schedule. And so you as a production manager are getting in and you're just checking and making sure things look right and managing by exception. And then you're ordering your materials automatically and it's keeping track. And then we're hooked into weather service data. And so automatically a weather event happens in your area. And we just auto reschedule people and automatically send out text messages to those homeowners saying, hey, we had to move because of this rain event. And you didn't have to lift a finger on that at the same way you did before. Now you're suddenly freed up to do so much more. You could schedule 5 times as many crews, and that's what we're talking about, that amazing automation. Now, what does that do for the business? How does that get back to the mission? Because now as an owner, I'm running a company that's insanely profitable. Like, we are doing things with a third the number of people that we had to do it before. And so I've got a really tight knit team. I can pay those people really well. So I can have the best A players in those roles. And we go and kick ass together. And I have a lot of extra profit. And then what happens with that? Well, they have more time back in their lives. They have more freedom in their lives. And then they end up giving back more to their communities. And you get this great network effect by automating the business.
I love
That's
that,
like
dude.
an example of where we're going in the next few years right now.
That's awesome. And yeah, you're right, with all of the new tech and all the way that, AI and everything else can communicate and make those decisions based on the parameters that you define. Like, it can become so much more useful now than ever to, like you said, run the production team that way. Like, that's unheard of. Nobody's doing that. No one
Right.
has a tech stack that deep that can handle that. And you guys tackling that problem is incredible. And then it helps us on so many levels as contractors really just make better decisions. And I've used, and I love, like, the simple things you guys have built out too already, though. Like, I've used the text messaging, for example. That
Yeah.
text messaging, the integration you guys have right now with that has made my life so much better, because the ability to text people based on what stages they're in and automate all that stuff and move my jobs along and communicate and have that single source of information is incredible. But like, to now look at what you guys are building and injecting these steroids into the system, dude, it's going to be insane.
We're really excited. I mean, the big thing for me is watching our customers increase in revenue and then also get better margins as they go, and seeing that, like, effect on their families. We're talking about generational effect. That business now can be handed down to their kids, their grandkids, because it's a durable long-term business. It's not just a get shit done and try to survive business, which is sort of the default in this industry before they start getting processes and people in place.
Yeah, that's what my grandpa did. That's what my great grandfather did. That's what my
Yep.
dad's done. And looking at it now, it's what the future is capable of. Man, it's unbelievable how advanced our companies can become over the next few years. And you're right, it does create that durability, that the stuff that matters is because contractors, especially really good craftsmen, that stuff is not high on their their priority list for the day. They want to work. They want to build cool stuff and
Yes.
design cool things. And not that but it should be much higher on their priority list, but it's just because it's such it's a full-time job in and of itself. You got to have a whole office staff if you want to scale. Now,
Yep.
if you've got tools like this at your disposal, man, you can scale so much faster and still do what you love to do, which ultimately brings contractors the most fulfillment when it comes to their their personal lives and everything. It's
Yeah.
frustrating to have to do things you hate to do all the time.
The truth is that everybody's quite good at their trade. Some are better than others at running their business, but we just try to take what if we could just take away all that nonsense and just say, you don't actually need it, it runs the business for you, the people in the process side. And we're talking about long-term vision here so that you're focused more on just being the best you can be at your trade and doing the things that you love to do. It's kind of rough in the trades because you're like, I just want to build things, but then you have to do all this other business shit you hate and or you dislike, or it's not fun, or it's not part of what your wheelhouse is. And we're like, how do we just make it so you can do more of what you love?
Yeah, agreed. Man, that's really cool. And you think about that from so many different levels, but we've seen. I was meeting with my team this morning. We are talking about some business owners and the way that most companies operate, the ones that are scalable, that are growing, that have systems and processes in place.
Yeah.
They're at the end of the day, a lot of, especially like talking about roofing companies, a lot of them are sales and marketing organizations, and they've lost really, the passion for the actual trade itself.
That's true. They almost flip. Yep.
They do. They flip at some point, which is necessary in order to scale. Like, you have to have it, but you end up becoming, you end up working on your business instead of doing the stuff that you really love, especially if you started as a tradesperson that really, appreciates the trade for what it is. And it could be electricians, it could be anything. Once the business grows and you're good at what you do, the whole game plan changes. And typically you look at that and it kind of, the real passionate people that love the trade kind of get pushed aside, and more of the business side of things starts to take over. And that's when people really lose their interest in the actual trade, and the quality starts to go down, things start
Yes.
to happen because
Yep.
it's different people that are running and making those decisions now, that are looking at it from a spreadsheet point of view instead of like what really matters in the business. So to give that power back to the actual tradespeople, to me, is incredible. Like, that's awesome. I love that. And that goes, that there's a very awesome passion behind that we've lost, I think. And I feel like these types of solutions can bring that back.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a big gap right now, and it keeps widening. Feels like a lot of companies have to almost lose their soul to grow, and like we're trying to like keep the soul intact, as we go. There is a way to do that.
Oh, I agree. There is a way. It's just the biggest problem is it's just what people love to do versus what they hate to do, and those that love to do the business side of things typically don't really care much about the craftsmanship and the actual
That's right.
trade. And so bringing it, flipping that role over a little bit more, the more I really just came to realize what you guys are actually trying to do from a macro level. But that's what it really is. It's
Yep.
really about putting us back into a position to where we get to focus on the things that really matter to the business again, and we get to actually be what we say that we are. Man,
Yeah,
that's
exactly
that's
right.
incredible.
Yes.
I love
It's so
that.
exciting. And we always say, like nobody, one thing that nobody can beat us at is we care more than anybody else in this industry, and nobody can take that away from us. And that caring is a superpower because it causes us to go the extra mile and ask what's possible and not just settle for what's good enough.
Agreed. Oh, 100%. And you see that. Like, I loved one of the biggest things that I love about your guys' headquarters is that you guys have an entire room with
Oh yeah.
like a roofing training center with a roof in there, and like you guys have some fencing and some solar and some siding and gutters and everything in there. And
Yep.
then you guys have like a back office, and from what I understood, every employee that comes into JobNimbus has to play an
Right.
escape room in there and
Yep.
learn all the different things about what we do all day long. That to me is that speaks volumes about your guys's what you guys actually care about.
Yeah, we always like, how do you get employees to care as much about the customer as you do as a founder? It's actually a common problem in every one of our customers too. As they start to scale, like you bring in all these people, they don't necessarily care as much about solving the problem as you do. They're just like, what's my job? And so we go like, okay, well, we can't take people out to our customers' location. That's way too burdensome, and it just doesn't work. But we bring in a lot of people that are in software. They have never done the trades, and so they don't understand. And so this happened to me because when we were first starting JobNimbus in 2012, we're like coming up with the idea and building the software. In 2013, we incorporated and started selling it. But I was going out to a bunch of customer locations and just watching what they're doing, and trying to understand the business and like really get into the detail. Like, teach me what I don't know. I'm a software guy. Teach me how, oh, wow, there's so many similarities between how you run business and I do. Hey, wait, oh, I get it. Okay, I got to learn all these terms. I got to learn how they do quoting. Okay, I get this now. And then we built software around that over time. The reason I say that is because we can't just send all these people out. So we built this room in our office and they walk through it. And the way they do it is the first day, it's actually their second day of work. They go in there and they have to do the job of the office manager, the production manager, the salesperson, and the owner. And we sort of like, they got to deal with QuickBooks. They got to deal with angry customer calls. they have to do it all on paper. So they have like a manual calendar there, and they got to schedule out crews, and we simulate like a rain event and all this kind of stuff so that they can go like, oh. And usually the thing the employees say on their second day is like, wow, this is a really hard job. It's very stressful. I'm like, yeah, okay. Now you're starting to get that empathy. That's the problem that we're dealing with right now. And then we teach them the JobNimbus app, and they go back in and they do the whole jobs over with the app, and they start seeing how we automate so many things and make it so much easier, and everything's in one place. And they go, oh, I get the value we create. This is so cool. Plus they learn the app. And then we run an escape room where they have to name every piece and part, because it matters to our customers if our employees know what underlayment is or anything like that. They have to be able to know the terms and understand that for all of our industries that we're in. And so they have a fun game around that. And so they walk out of there having a little more empathy. When you talk to somebody at JobNimbus, they've definitely gone through it. The other thing that we do, just to tie the bow on this, is that we partnered with Habitat for Humanity here in Utah County, with their exclusive provider of any home exterior stuff. So siding, gutters, windows and doors, roofing, that's all JobNimbus. And we always have a licensed certified contractor on site when we do these projects with these needy families. And then, of course, we pay for it all. And then we actually send out our team, and people volunteer to go out there and do the work. And it's so fun watching like an engineer that mostly codes walk up a ladder, because we don't give them a ladder truck, walk up a ladder with a bundle of shingles and scared the crap out of them, like, oh my gosh, this is so hard, and they have such respect for our customers and the hard work that they do. Because we use a lot of brain work here, but we don't actually work a lot with our hands in that way. And so it's a great way to get more of that empathy going.
Yeah, I mean, and that just speaks volumes to what the culture at JobNimbus is and what you guys are trying to achieve. So, and when I think about JobNimbus, though, you mentioned like all the trades you guys are involved in. You guys are involved in a lot of different trades. We see it obviously in the roofing space a lot. But I love, at the end of the day, this is probably my favorite thing about JobNimbus is not a one-size-fits-all CRM. Never has been. It's always been customizable to what that business is doing.
Yep.
Whether it be retail, whether it be insurance, whether you're doing fencing, whatever it is that you do, JobNimbus has a way that it just all works together. So it's really honestly pretty easy for, I could see any company of any type of trade set up a JobNimbus account and manage their business through that account. Are you guys planning to move into more verticals, or like, I know you guys have a pretty good focus, but in all reality, any vertical can use you guys?
Yeah, it's a question of somewhat resources too. I mean, 330 million helps a lot. Yes, we are going to go into some other trades, but we never want to lose our focus on the current one. So you have to make sure that you have enough product and engineering resources, enough support people to keep maintaining growth in a certain industry. Because if you just go in another industry, you actually just create more problems. Now everybody has to learn how to onboard a customer differently, and you don't have enough resources. And then the current customers that are in other industries that have already been in for a while get pissed off. So we're like really, really careful about this. I'm a big fan of nail it, then scale it. And so it's about making a beachhead. Like, once you own a certain percentage of the market and you have a product market fit where they're really, really happy with it and it's solving their problem in a meaningful way, that's when you're ready to go to the next one and do that again. But you have to have the resources to do that. And so one of the reasons we took this funding is because we think we can help some more people. But I would say a majority of the money, more than 50%, is still going to go towards roofing, gutters, siding, and fencing, which are kind of our main 4 industries that we're in, with roofers being about 70% of our customers. So they're the majority.
That's cool though. And being able to, like I said though, at the end of the day, I mean, I can imagine trying to run any type of home services company without a JobNimbus behind it. And it's so, you can still do a lot of cool stuff with it. But at the end of the day, like what you guys have built is so customizable. It works for every company, and it's pretty awesome. So you guys are killing it. But so as we go into this, give us some timelines. Like how soon are contractors going to start seeing some changes and some better things? Which I mean, you guys have done so much already though in the last year. Sumo Pro, like there's all these cool integrations that have already come out. The marketing, all the stuff that you guys are building. Like, man, there's so much already going on to add more to it. It's gonna.
Well, one of the things that we're really big on, like a theme for 2025, is we've been on this like crazy tear of more for the last few years, really just closing gaps in the product where like one of our competitors was better at this one thing than us or whatever, and we wanted to get meaningfully better than them. We're at a point now where we've closed all the meaningful gaps, especially by January, we'll have them all closed. And in some cases, we're like years ahead of our competition, like on our mobile app or things like that. But where we think the focus should be for 25 is to not add more, because it's a little overwhelming, all the things you can do in there right now. But to go back to some of the older experiences like calendar, like email, like core jobs, like workflow, and go and punch those up with more automation. And really the end result is like, how could I set up JobNimbus in minutes on my own is like where we're trying to go to, but still keep the customization. Just make it that easy to dial it in the way I want, but fast and easy, because it's not that fast right now. We want it to be faster. Like sometimes it can take a couple weeks for somebody to get everything set up the way they want and really using it actively. And that's too long in my opinion. And so we're going to focus a lot more on some of the core experiences, which I know any existing customer listening to this is going to go, hell yeah, because they love all the new things we're coming out with, but they wish that we would fix some of the old things and make them better, and so that's what we're going to do. I think the net effect of that is going to be like the overall product quality be so high, it'll be a little bit irrefutable to look at anybody else because we'll just be so far ahead. That's really where we're trying to be, is just such a good product that nobody ever wants to leave, and they want us to help them solve the problem long term.
No, that makes sense, and I bet a lot of contractors are excited about that because that's going back. I mean, there's so many advancements since you guys have come out in so many different areas that you're right, like the AI, the automations, all those things that can start to build into that. You can make JobNimbus really, really smart, really quick. I'm sure, especially with that funding. So.
It's super cool to see customers, like I was talking to a guy the other day, one of our customers, and he's at 7 million in revenue right now in his second year, and he's 2 employees, and he's running it all because he's automated so much of it. And I was like, man, that's so cool what you're doing now. That's the future of what we're trying to do for every customer, or other customers that are 100 million right now that we're at 10 million, not 4 or 5 years ago, with us. Just crazy growth, all scaling on JobNimbus. And that's what it's all about. Like, how do we profitably grow these guys? That's how you really make them heroes. Super cool.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome. Well, congrats to you guys and to your whole team. And hearing it from you like that, and you're so charismatic about it, and you're passionate about seeing these contractors do well, and it just reverberates through the whole company. Like everyone from the bottom up feels the same culture, that we're on a mission, and that is to make contractors' lives better. And you guys have done such a great job of that. And I always love hanging out with your team and being, and being with you guys, because it's contagious.
Oh, thank you.
You get around JobNimbus people, and and even like going to shows. What was funny is I've talked to Mark and some of the folks that I hang out with a lot, and they I said we don't really go to shows to pick up new customers. We bring our customer support people to the shows.
Yeah.
And you guys are basically servicing your contractors in real time with real people. It's like a Genius bar essentially for JobNimbus users. And that, to me, like, that's so cool that you guys are at that level. But a lot of companies, especially some of the more legacy, tech players in our space, they go to shows and they'll set up a little booth because they're like, yeah, why are we going to set up a big booth? We're not trying to acquire new customers as much as we're just here to hang out with our customers. But you guys still do the big, massive booths. And the reason I say that is because that just speaks volumes as to what the core mission really is at JobNimbus. It's the service to contractors, and you're willing to invest the extra money, the extra time. You guys will have 15, 20 people at these booths, all working there just to service the customers that are already walking through the doors, just to be with them and hang out and make their experience better. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad you noticed that, because that's something that we started doing quite a while back, and we noticed nobody else really does it at the same level. Most people are very focused on just how much money they can make from the show. And we do care about getting new customers. We'd love somebody new to come over and take a look at us, and that's a part of it. But of our total team there, probably a quarter is sales. The other three quarters would be product people. I want to talk to customers. I want to show them the newest stuff I'm working on, get their feedback on it. I want to hear what they're frustrated about the product and how we can fix it, because we care about that. And then a bunch of support people, and we'll sit down and actually help you solve problems. Like, you come all the way to an IRE or something, you got to get value out of it. And if you come to our booth, you better be going, that was amazing. That made the trip worth it right there, just for that hour with JobNimbus.
Yeah, and I'm sure that happens quite a bit with contractors,
Yeah.
because that's something that they don't get in our space. It's like they can't walk into the JobNimbus store and get help ever. Like, it's just not a thing yet, but maybe it will be someday. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same time, like, to go to an event that you've already invested a lot of time and money and to walk away with that one thing, like, yeah, you're right. It could make someone's entire event just right there. And I appreciate that. I think the industry appreciates that. I'm sure your customers appreciate that attend these events, because they get in front of you guys. And it's pretty cool to see that in our space. So thank you for doing that. And keep doing that.
That's awesome.
Contractors
I'm glad you noticed. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but man, I really appreciate you guys, you coming on and sharing this stuff, because this is big industry news, and hopefully the industry can understand that, we're talking real tech money here. This, people see that number and it's almost like it's like a mirage. You're like, wait, that's a real number there. $330 million is a real number. And the reason why is because outside of our space, I'm sure that money is not coming from contractors, right? It's from investors that are looking at our space.
No, it's investors that believe in what we're doing. It's so hard to find a mission-driven company these days that actually cares and has a big vision of how to solve a problem.
Exactly.
So they want to put money there.
And so, as an industry, take note, guys. Like, you guys there's a big investment coming into our space that can change a lot of the ways that we look at things. But not only that, but it's the perception from outside of our industry looking into our space and saying, these are the people we need to be investing in. And they're investing ultimately in JobNimbus, but really what they're investing in is contractors. And they're investing in the users and the people to have a better experience, the ones that make this industry go around, which we talked about at the beginning. But you cannot underestimate, which I feel like we've been in the shadows for a really, really long time.
A long time. Yes.
A really long time. And it's always, everyone always looked blue collar. It's kind of looked down on as a, lesser of a profession, but that's
the exact
changing.
Opposite. Yeah.
100%. People like you guys see that. Investors are seeing it. I believe young people are seeing it, and they're like, hey, I could go to trade school and make this much money versus going to college. And like, there's so many different ways to look at this, but this is a big indicator, and it's putting your money where your mouth is, and seeing these investment firms step up and say, no, we're investing in this. This is the sector we're going to put the money. And you said it was one of the biggest round of fundings in Salt Lake City. That's massively huge of importance, because if you look at what's all in Salt Lake, it's huge.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Biggest round this year of any round. Biggest Series B round, second round ever in Utah history. The next closest was about 200 million from 4 years ago. So it's like we're on the map in a big time in Utah, and Utah's a big tech hub. Then you look at home exterior software like roofing, siding, gutters, that type of thing. By far the biggest software round ever in history of the industry. Nothing's even close. So it's like wow, okay, we're doing something special here. Now, let's not get over our skis. Let's not get big in the head here. Why did people invest in us? Because we believe more than anybody else. It's a responsibility now for us to go out and deploy those funds and make the biggest impact we possibly can. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Uh, yeah, we can handle it. We'll do it. I really believe in our team. I think we got some special people here, and we're going to be able to attract some more special people with this news too,
Oh, I'm
because we
sure.
only want 8 players here.
No, you should, and I love that, and it's something that and I know your guys' team well, and I've never met a JobNimbus employee that's been like, I hate my job and I hate working for JobNimbus. No, that's never happened. I've heard it from other people. Other people come up to be like, hey, yeah, I work for so and so and it sucks. No, you guys are the opposite. It's like every single person there lives, breathes. The culture is incredible. You guys all love the mission, and so you guys need to keep on doing what you're doing. And contractors, I know, we're taking note, and we love what you guys are about, and yeah, we'll keep supporting you, and hopefully, because it's big time for our mission as well as contractors is to continue to provide better service, better things, and like we talked about earlier, put that focus back on the actual trade and the quality. So thank you so much
for
all of this stuff, and say hi to the whole team for me.
Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Anytime.
I will.
Man. All right, man. We'll talk soon.
Okay, thanks.